Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Gatus. Welcome once again to another YouTube video. I call these things Dr. G's Medical Musings because I've been in the business quite a number of years and like to ruminate on a number of different things in life. Today we're going to talk a little bit about when you're attempting to lose weight, don't forget the protein. Why am I bringing this up? Because as you know, anybody who's seen any of the previous videos, I have lost weight using the intermittent fasting regime. However, I want to tell you that I fell into a trap. When I started the intermittent fasting regime, which is just kind of following what nature would like us to do, I lost weight with little effort. I didn't have to count calories as long as I kept my food, and especially my carb consumption, between 9 to 5. I was eating ketogenically, mainly between, for breakfast, say between 5 and 7 in the morning if I was hungry. 7 and 9 in the morning if I was hungry, and between 5 and 7 at night for dinner. I'm assuming that this allowed my body to enter ketosis or fat burning because the fat came off, and which I was all happy about, but after about a month I was beginning to feel a little bit tired and drained and just a little bit angry, which I find kind of odd. So I also noticed my sleep patterns were affected, and I was feeling not only down but sleeping more than normal and waking up more often at night. And then some personal stress happened, and if you're like me, as I'm sure a lot of you are, when stress happens, we start to eat carbs. So I started to eat carbs a little bit outside of the 9 to 5 window, and lo and behold, I began to feel better. So, yeah, I'm a carb stress eater, and I can hear some of you saying and pointing the finger, see, carbs are good. Well, yeah, carbs are good. Some carbs are good. We all need carbohydrates. The brain runs on glucose. I get that. So it's good for the brain, but not for the waistline, at least not for me, because, as I may have mentioned before, I found out that my serum fasting insulin is higher than it should be, higher than optimum, which means that if I have more carbohydrate floating around in my blood, it's going to be shuffled off to fat stores. So I had to further think on what was going on, and I'd realized that I'd fallen into the mind trap. And what I mean by that is, I think all of us, on some level, have been programmed to accept the belief that in order to lose weight, you have to severely cut calories. In other words, cutting calories is how you lose weight. And that's simply not true. In my case, restricting the carbohydrates did. And I began to realize that I hadn't been eating enough food between the 7 and 7 time frame that I'd been doing. And to make matters worse, I wasn't eating enough protein either. And this is rather critical, which is what I want to talk to you about. Because protein is broken down into amino acids, and the amino acids are not only the building blocks of life, the amino acids are converted or are neurotransmitters. Tryptophan, for example, in the body is converted to serotonin. Well, serotonin has many functions in the body and the brain in particular, and I paid attention to this because it's a critical neurotransmitter that affects mood, learning, temperature regulation, the cardiovascular system, the endocrine system, the muscles, in other words, what doesn't it affect? And symptoms of serotonin deficiency in the brain include depression, OCD, anxiety, panic attacks, and anger. It's well known, of course, that carbohydrates are converted to serotonin. This is why often people who have low serotonin levels crave carbohydrates, often compulsively eating them. And yes, that'll raise the serotonin levels and make you feel better temporarily. And I'll attest to that, but most people realize that if you have a hit of carbohydrate, it gets used up fairly quickly, as long as you're not insulin resistant or whatever, and it'll drop, and then you'll feel worse than you did before. So it's kind of a double-edged sword there. So me increasing my carbohydrate intake was not really all that advisable, nor it's the cure, so what is? And again, I believe the answer is the protein. This due to this mind trick that was happening before, that I had to cut down on the food I was eating, I was also cutting down on the protein that I was ingesting. And with a body my size, and I mean, I'm around 6'2", 225 pounds, give or take, the amount of protein I need would be the equivalent of 2 10-ounce Texas steaks a day. Now, I wasn't getting anywhere near that, and nor do I like steak that much, although I grew up on a beef farm, so I do like steak once in a while. So how much protein do we actually need? Well, the most of the sources that I read, somewhere between 25 and 30% of your total daily calories is around, should be optimal. And why is that? Because it's been shown to boost metabolism by, say, 80 to 100 calories a day compared to low protein diets. A higher metabolism means more fat burning, and it keeps you feeling full longer. And it does it better than either fat or carbohydrates. So protein makes you feel full longer. One study that I read in obese men, it showed that if they kept their protein at 25% or increased it to 25%, they did in fact feel full or fuller. The desire to late night snack was reduced also, and the obsessive thoughts about food decreased by 60%. Another study showed that women now, who increased their protein to 30% of their total calories, ate 441 fewer calories a day, which converted to 11 pounds lost in 12 weeks. In other words, almost a pound a week, simply by adding more protein to their diets. Now, I'm not advocating eating all protein, of course. I'm talking about around, for men and women, somewhere around 25 to 30% of the total calories. And older adults like me have significantly increased protein needs, sometimes up to 50% higher than the daily recommended intake, which is also concerning because we don't digest protein as well as we used to in our 20s or 30s. So in summary then, carbohydrate cravers like me and perhaps like you, we might be tryptophan or serotonin deficient. Increasing the carbohydrate consumption can make you feel better, but it'll cause weight gain, at least in my estimation, due to the insulin effect and potentially to the higher caloric content. Adding more protein to your diet, especially tryptophan-containing foods, should increase your serotonin level and make you feel better, which means you shouldn't have to indulge in your starches or sweets as much. And eating more protein should keep you feeling full longer, which should reduce your caloric intake naturally. You should increase your protein because it's easier to stick to any weight loss diet when you do. And that magic number, around 30% of your total calories, may be optimum for weight loss so far. So again, my name is Dr. G. I'd like you to subscribe to my channel and be notified of future videos. So there's some button or other down below here. And an apple and a video a day just may keep the doctor away. So until next time, remember, the body is a matter of mind. So please pay attention to what matters to your body.